houses. So yeah, I would like a little bit of interaction if you guys are doing open houses today. You know, if you're, are you doing them, you're not doing them, you have some thoughts about them. When we were at CRS 3 weeks ago, Nate shared with me that one of the largest pillars of his team's business currently is open houses, and that his team, you know, they're fighting over who gets to do the open houses when they have new listings coming. And in fact, they're doing double duty where 2 people will sit in the morning, 2 people will sit in the afternoon because the leads are so good. So if you don't think leads, you know, open houses work, let's jump into that. Let's kind of, you know, get your mindset in the right spot. For me personally, when I was a buyer's agent on Nate's team, anytime I had a lull in my business, I'd go sit up an open house, right? And that was back in the day before we had the social media stuff that we have and all the ways we have to advertise. I would just go throw some signs out and sit there for a couple hours, and inevitably it would shift my business, and all of a sudden I would get back to being busy. So do we have any preconceived ideas about open houses that you guys want to talk about before we jump into the materials? Do we like them? Do we hate them? I never loved doing them, if I'm being honest, because the worst part was putting out the signs. But I'm going to give you guys a resource that there's a guy in town who puts out signs for you. So I'm going to give you guys a resource on that. But any thoughts around open houses? Don't all talk at once. No, we got no thoughts about it. Okay. All right. Well, then I did send you guys the materials. You do have some resources. Go ahead, Roberta.
Just haven't been successful at them.
Okay.
So just need tools and ideas on how to talk to buyers, how to convert them.
Okay.
I think I've sold, I think I've never sold an open house.
Okay.
A house at an open house, but I've gotten maybe one buyer.
Okay.
The whole time. So need ideas on how to do it better.
Okay.
And capitalize on the buyers who are walking in.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to give you that. So we're not going to get into the Workman stuff, but if you guys go into the resource, the training center that we have through Workman, there are some videos that you guys can watch. I would just type in open house in the search, and there'll be some different things, because there's open house videos in BAM, there's open house video in SLAM, and there's also open house video in RAMP. And so some good content in there. There's also some before the open house, during and after checklists that you guys can do. So I would take that stuff, and usually if I do this in 2 hours, I play a little bit of those too, but we just have an hour today. But I would encourage you guys to go in if you haven't taken those classes. Most of you have in the past, and so if you haven't taken it, you know, maybe go take a look at those and download those things. Just kind of, you know, refresh on that on the open houses. So we're not going to necessarily spend a lot of time going through the scripts and dialogues that are in the momentum materials, but you guys do have that you can reference. One tool that I would really, or 2 tools actually, that I would really highly encourage you guys to check out, and not just check out but use, is VoicePad. VoicePad is a great tool for buyers that are out shopping for homes. They can enter the address of the property. If it's available, they'll get a recorded information about the property. Cool thing about VoicePad is that you can track them and see what they're calling off of, right? Rose Gillen will use this tool in her open house, and she says, how would you like to have a realtor in your pocket? That's her script. And then she's very assertive. So she basically walks them through, takes their phone and puts the VoicePad app on their phone while they're at the open house. She has found that if she just sends it to them, there's less of a chance that they will open it and actually put it on their phone. But if she demonstrates it at the open house, there's a higher percentage of the likelihood they're going to use it. The other tool is Remax. Your Remax mobile app, if you open your Bouge on your phone, it's right there. You hit the hamburger menu, you can copy and paste it, and then send a new text. What I love about the Remax app is a couple things. Is one, it's the only app on the market that is truly an app-based app, meaning that it's not pulling from a website. You go to realtor.com, hate to say it, Zillow.com, that is pulling, those apps are pulling from their websites, which is why they're often outdated, right? So Remax is its own thing, right? There is no other technology out there that's its own thing. And then you can actually see what they're doing. Then they can share properties with you. You can send properties to them. And it refreshes every 7 minutes. The only technology on the planet that refreshes that quickly. And why is that important? Well, if I'm a buyer today, right, and things are moving so quickly, I know that I'm going to get fresh content every 7 minutes, right? And then, you know, you can take your phone and point it at a house, and the augmented reality gives you every detail about that property right there. So it's a very awesome tool. I think it's underutilized because agents don't know that it's available, which there is more people listening in on this class. So go get your app. It's branded to you and you can text that out to people. So, and then it works through Boosh, right? You can see everything that they're looking at. It will also tell you if they start cheating on you with another Remax agent. And so if you're dropping the ball and not communicating with them, it will let you know, hey, Roberta, better get in touch with these people. You're not doing a good job. Okay. So 2 tools that are not in the materials that I would highly encourage you guys to get, because when you're in an open house and someone walks in, you're just like any other realtor out there, right? So you have to distinguish yourself, and how are you going to be relevant and irresistible in that open house, right? So you have to act different than the average Joe that's going into open houses. Also not in the materials, I promise I'm getting some materials, is the survey. So Nate's team, we came up with a survey a few years ago. And so they actually will hand a clipboard to people walking through the house and ask them to survey the property. Anytime that you can engage someone in that type of behavior, it's a closing and a conversion tool, right? Because you're communicating with them, you're asking them, hey, would you mind giving us some feedback for the seller, right? And then that opens the conversation. So go get yourself some clipboards. I'm happy to share that survey with you. Just send me an email and I will send it over to you guys, okay?
Sarah,
Yes.
just to add on that, I've done that in the past as well. I haven't done it in the past couple of open houses, but I used to always do it. And because what I found was people would walk in and say, well, how much is the house? And I would tell them, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to walk through the house, tell me what you think about the house, and then tell me how much you would pay for the house. And I would get a price valuation based on that. And then I would tell them the price, but it totally engaged them. They're like, well, I don't know.
That.
Yeah, it was really fascinating to watch people and hear what they'd say. And I'd say, oh, come on, just help me out here.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
I would go through. So I would never tell them the price.
Good. I like that. That's a great little tip. So, yeah, so the survey is a good way to engage them. And then if you're doing voice pad, you can actually put them, if you had your voice pad open, you could do it on your computer too, and have them put the app, and whether you do a paper sign in or digital sign in, it just depends on what you want to do. I mean, some people do the digital and have them fill it out. There's less errors on that way. So whatever you're comfortable with, right? The main thing too is I want you guys to have your mindset correct. Do you think open houses work? Because if you don't think they work, then we got to work on that, right? Is making sure we have our mindset correctly. And I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so you guys are not disturbed by your faces there. So what we want to do today is teach you guys a proactive approach, right? We want you to be confident, right? We want you to have an effective way to engage people and create more relationships, right? And so we have people that are walking through, they're typically buyers, could be nosy neighbors. And I'm okay with nosy neighbors because, hey, can I put you in my database and stay in contact with you, right? Because nosy neighbors know people, right? They know people on the street who might be making a move. And so statistically, you guys, when a house is listed, 2 to 3 more houses could be listed on that same street within 90 days. And I will tell you, in my street, and these houses are less than 2 years old, or well, just over 2 years old, sorry. There have been 4 houses that have gone up for sale in the last 4 months, and plus now mine is being rented. So that is a true statistic. And so if we're not doing the right things around our listings, we are missing the opportunity to create those additional listings, and the buyers, right? Create the additional buy sides that we need from our listings. So in my mind, when a new listing comes on the market, we have coming soon as a door knock, right? Go ahead and will you let Monique in for me? So we have the coming soon, right? That's, hey, this listing's coming on the market. And then we have the open house door knock, right? And when we talk about door knock, we talk about 10, 10, 20, right? 10 on either street, either side, and then 20 across the street. And, if you're not comfortable door knocking, leave a flyer. Coming soon. Great time to pick your neighbor. Watch out for the open house date. Now we open house, right? Some people will knock on the doors and say, hey, are you okay if I put my signs here? I've taken the approach of, hey, will you watch out for me, right? I sit in this open house, if you see anything funky going on, let me know, right? And then when it goes under contract, I feel like there's another opportunity to door knock as well, to let people know that, hey, this property is under contract. I've had some people say that they've door knocked to apologize, right? To say, hey, sorry for the traffic and the activity on the street. We're now under contract. You can't disclose the price, but you can let them know that, hey, we did get multiple offers, and et cetera, right? And then when it closes, that's the last opportunity to door knock, and we can actually get in front of them and say, hey, this is what this house sold for, and this is what I or my team did in order to get this home under contract, right? And I think that that's important. I really think, you guys, and I'm trying not to go on too much of a rant about this, but I really feel like we are responsible for the push on commissions. And reason being is that we all get on our social media where we talk to our friends and we say, oh my gosh, the market is so hot, everything's selling so quickly. We had 14 offers in 2 hours, right? And so the messaging we're sending around that is that I don't need you, right? Why do I need you? I could go, go sell this myself and not pay a commission. It's also off-putting that if I'm a seller, why do I want to do that? Where am I going to go, right? I'm going to be homeless. And if I'm a buyer, I can't compete. I'm going to be beat out of the market. And so we have to do a better job defending what we do, because 14 offers, I don't know about you, but I don't like getting 14 offers. That's a lot. And how do I help my sellers sit across the table from them and tell them which of the 14 is the right offer to take? Right. So getting 14 offers is only one part of the equation. We now have to get it across the finish line. And so we need to do a better job telling the story of what we did in order to make that house sell and stick it together, right? And so I think that's super important. We got to change our words matter, right? We need to change how we're saying things. And now that you guys know the MLS is now going to have public information on your co-brokes, right? So we got to do a good job with that and defending our commission. Okay, so the effective, this is on page 4. Those of you who jumped in a few minutes after, I will send the materials to you at the end of the class. So financial consequences. So we have 45 weeks of the year that we're working. And if you did 2 open houses per week, right, you do Saturday, Sunday, that would give you 90 open houses. If you had an average of 5 people walk through an open house, that's 450 opportunities to have conversations with people. And if you only set 10%, that's 45 new appointments, right? If 50% of those people showed up, that comes down to 23 new meetings. And if we're only able to convert 45, which I think most of you on this call are going to be better than 45% conversion, that would give you 10 additional closings. And an average sales price right now hovering around 400,000. We can do the math. That's a pretty good day, right? On an additional GCI. And what this chart doesn't even show us is the additional listings that could come from this, the additional buy sides, because if it's your listing, when you're doing it right, we should hope that you at least get 1 to 1.5 buy sides from every listing that you take. So this chart doesn't even show you the additional opportunities that are there, right? And that's just on phase 1. As you elevate as an agent, you can increase your conversion rates. So some of you might actually be in this 55 to 65% right now. And so just really getting good with your words, right? And thinking about the scripts and dialogues that I'm going to say. All right, so what do we have? We have a prospect, right? So our prospect is someone coming into the open house, and we want to have, and I don't like the words label the looker, but we want to identify where the looker is in their process, right? And the script that's in the materials is how would you like to go about, or I'll get into it when I get in there, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. So we want to have a welcome dialogue, right? We want to have a dialogue that identifies where they are in the process. We want to have a follow-up dialogue, and then there's a justification, right? Because sometimes people will give you pushback. Can't you just email me the information, right? That's the classic line that most of us say, myself included, when I'm being solicited. So we want to have a call list, right? So for follow-up on VoicePad, one thing I love about VoicePad is any calls that have come in on that listing, you get the information, right? If the agent is using VoicePad, you get their information within seconds of them calling that phone number. And so what I used to do, it was a different technology, but it was the same as VoicePad. We had an ad that would go out every Friday with our new listings. And so I would call the people that called off that property and say, hey, just want to let you know, I'm doing an open house. You called about this property, come on by. I have a great story about Jim and Carrie Haas. They were one of those people that had called off our ad, called them up, said, hey, I'm sitting this property open. They came over. We immediately clicked. I sold their house in Peoria. I sold them a house in Glendale. And then they moved up to a new construction that it was actually 2 new constructions. And then they ended up selling and moving back to the East Coast. So I was able to refer them an agent back there, all from one phone call. One phone call and an open house. And so very effective. You want to have some signage, right? Make sure you got plenty of signage. Your registrations, right? Your home criteria sheet. So having some MLS sheets or flyers. I would also suggest that you preview, if there's other houses for sale in the market, go preview them and have that information available as well. Because, you could say, be right back, walk around the corner, go show another property that might fit their needs better. And so when you preview, you now become a little bit more of the expert, right? Have your clipboard with your pens, the survey if you want to go that route. I probably would pull tax record information just on that property, or at least have it available so I can talk about that. And then comps, make sure it's priced right, make sure it's price. What the price is and how it stacks up against the competition, because people will want to know that, right? And then have some thank you notes that you could write if you get people's addresses. One thing that's not in the material is sending a quick little text. Right at the end of the day, you could send a text with a video of you. It was so nice to meet you. I can't wait to help you. Follow up with you again. That will get opened, you guys, and it's something different that your competition is not doing. Okay. All right, so before we get started, so core beliefs. So we talked about these last week, I believe. So you guys can read through those. I'm just going to hit on a couple that I really like. So you guys know this. I live in a world of abundance. It's one of my favorite affirmations of all times. It really checks the boxes in so many ways, right? It's not just about money, but it's just life in general, living in abundance. And when, the crap hits the fan and we, are down on our luck, or we had a bad open house, we had a deal fall through, if you can have an attitude that I live in a world of abundance, it just makes the world a better place, right? Your only limit is time. My father-in-law passed away a couple of years ago. He lived a very full life. And the one thing he said is he wished he had more time. So it is the only thing that is finite, right? That we literally do not have an unlimited supply of. And so why is that important? Because we need to focus our time on the right things. A lot of us focus on the wrong things, and who sacrifices? Our family, our friends, our health, right? Us. And so if you focus on the things that are the right activities, that frees you up to have time to spend with the people that you love. Success comes from systems, duplicated processes and systems. If you go to McDonald's and you get a job at McDonald's, they put you through McDonald's University, and you are taught that if you take a small cup and you put the right amount of ice in there and you hit the small button, that cup will fill up right to where it needs to, not over, not under. Over is waste, right? And in restaurant world, you don't want waste. That costs you money. And so when we think about systems in our business, anything that you do more than 3 times needs to have a written system. And so the open house, right? We're going to talk about your open house box, right? But have a tote. There's everything in it that you need for your open houses, right? Print out the checklist from the workman stuff and know exactly what you're going to do before, during, and after, right? And that process will ensure that you have a good outcome from your open house. It's unacceptable for my business to earn 0. I personally would put in here that it's unacceptable for my business to earn less than whatever my financial goal is, okay? And then put that everywhere. Look at it often, right? Because the more often that we can align ourselves with what our financial goal is, the easier it is to get there, right? And then the last one here that I'm going to hit on is that cost is only the issue in absence of value. I think there's going to be a lot of buyer agents come around May 1st that are going to all of a sudden start realizing that cost is an issue in the absence of value. When you sit across the table from someone and they're looking at the MLS and they're wondering why you're getting X apples, that's going to be a challenge for some people. So you really need to think about, what is your value? What are you bringing to the table? Why does this person want to work with you? We have a really low bar of entry, you guys, to get into this industry. That's why there's an 87% fail rate every 5 years. And so we want them to really think about, what is it that I'm bringing to the table? Because I want to overvalue, people that are working with me. Okay. The next set, real estate beliefs. So, I always kind of push back on, it's a get rich business, right? If you're in the business to make money, own it, right? Own it and just do a good job. Money is just an exchange of currency or energy, right? That's it. You do something for me, I pay you, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So if you're in this business to get rich, own it. Real estate sales is basic. I also get pushback on this one too, because people think, oh my gosh, it's really complicated. And when you think about the contract and all the legal stuff, yeah, that can get complicated, right? But the idea here is that what are we doing? We are building relationships, and that is basic, right? Do I like you? Do I trust you? And that's really what this is saying. The last two here number 4, I will not convert 100% of leads I do not generate. I personally think that you should not get out of bed every day and wonder who needs your services. I heard at the conference I was at that we should really focus in on our C leads. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because the concept is that the A's are already done, right? The A's are already in the works. But if we focus on our C's, that fills our pipeline for 90 days, 6 months, right? And I thought that was really interesting. An interesting spin on something I already kind of believed, right? Because my mind, how can I make this C an A? What can I do today to make them an A? And so we should not wonder when we get out of bed who needs our services. People will follow and trust you what you can logically and tangibly explain. Even the most emotional person, if you can be logical, right, and you can explain the process with tangible facts, they will follow you. And then last, it's unacceptable to leave the client's money on the table. I think we all agree with that. And I think if you have that attitude, it builds trust and credibility. A lot of times as salespeople, we get the reputation of just being about the money. And so I think if you can have that vibe and that's the energy you're putting off, it will build better trust with your people. So buyer beliefs. Number 2, motivated, qualified, loyal people buy homes. These are A buyers, right? These are people that are qualified, right? Or they've proven proof of funds. They're motivated, right? They're ready to go. Someone who says, I'm living with my in-laws, with my kids and my pets. I don't have a timeline. Okay, they may not be bound to a lease agreement or something that they have to sell, but they are motivated. I don't know about you, but if I was living with my in-laws, with my kids and my pets, I would be very motivated. If they won't meet me, they're not a buyer. This is a red flag, you guys. If they won't come in and behave like a number two, right? A motivated, qualified, loyal buyer, there's probably something off, right? And then number 5, my only caveat to A, buyers deserve my immediate time and attention. I agree with that. However, there are times that, you get someone that's in town, this time of year, a lot of people visit Phoenix, right? They fall in love with the weather. They may call about a listing. They're not really ready to buy right now. They might be a couple years out. I'm still going to probably go show them because I want to solidify that relationship. Because why? Because I need to fill my pipeline with C's. And so if I go show one house to create that relationship, I'm going to do that, right? And so that doesn't mean I'm going to take them on tour, but I am going to go do something to create that relationship there and lock that relationship down. Okay. So any thoughts on this before I move off the core beliefs? And as I've said in all the classes on momentum, is anytime you see these core beliefs, just print that page out, right? Have it handy so that you can review this often. I used to be a weirdo and had my affirmations laminated and hanging in my shower. So I would read them every day. And so, have these things, especially before an open house, read through these, right? Get your mindset in the right spot. I don't know if any of you guys used to watch the show Ally McBeal. I'm dating myself, I know, but the lawyer in the show had this ritual every time before he went into court. He would play, I think it was a Barry Manilow song, but it would get him in the right mindset, right? So whatever works for you to get your head in the right spot, right? So you go into an open house and you feel like, excuse me, that this open house, I'm gonna get a lead, right? Any thoughts or comments before I jump off of that? Good morning, Monique. Sorry about that. I got tickle in my throat. Okay, let's jump back in. You guys are all quiet today.
Good morning. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning. All right. Sorry, goodness gracious. Talking too much. All right. So holding an effective class. So we want to make sure that we does the price of the house according to our goals. I think these days, just finding a house we can sit open is probably the most important. That it's in a good traffic area, right? That it's easy to get signs to. And then you're going to get a lot of traffic coming by. And then it shows well inside and out. There's some people say, I don't want to sit a vacant house. I'm not necessarily opposed to sitting in a vacant house if it makes sense to. Part of your arsenal, what you should have is a folding chair and a table, right, that you can take if it is vacant. And again, with inventory the way it is, I think I would sit anything I could get my hands on. Preparation. Start advertising it a couple days beforehand. Those of you who have done coaching with me, we talk about doing the Facebook, right? Do your Facebook post. And I think it's effective to do, maybe take a still photo of the property, put it on your Facebook and say, hey guys, I'm sitting this house open. I'm going to go live at such and such time, maybe the day before. So if you're doing a Saturday, maybe you say, I'm going to go live at 3 p.m. on Friday, get a sneak peek of this property. I'm going to be there on Saturday. Then at 3 p.m. on Friday, we go live. Don't give them a tour of the whole property. Just give them maybe a money shot to let them know that, hey, you're going to be there. Day of open house, go live again, remind them that you're there from whatever time to whatever time, and then invite them to come, put the address in the comments, right? And as you, that time you can kind of give a little bit of a tour, and engage them, right? Hey guys, what do you think about this? Pop some comments in the chat, right? Kyle Clayton did that, and he actually had someone who was sitting in their bed, scrolling through Facebook, it popped up, and guess what? They got dressed and they came to the open house. And so it does work. We want to inform the neighbors, right? This says 50, 10, 10, 20. I like that too. So 10 houses by either side, 20 across the street. Have your clipboards, right? You can buy the little ones. If you're going to have small ones, you can buy the large ones. Have your open house registration printed out, or if you're going to do digital, have it ready to go. Have your tax record, MLS sheet, some flyers about the property, and then have any kind of, like I said, the surrounding homes, and then the comps. And so you want to have all that stuff handy, because those are all things that if you're not prepared, then you're going to be off your game. Okay. You can also put a rider out a couple days beforehand that says, hey, this house is going to be open on Saturday. You could buy those at Weimar, or probably on Amazon if you want to get them there. Okay. And then another thing that's not on here is where was I going to go with this? Oh, Some people will do the first hour, right, where they let the seller or let the nosy neighbors come through. So kind of an exclusive time. So that's another strategy that you guys could try. Make sure it's in the MLS that you're doing the open house. And then if it's your listing and you're not using VoicePad, let's talk about that. If it's someone else's listing and they are using VoicePad, ask for that VoicePad list so that you can make those calls and invite the people to the open house. Okay. And then the action, I'm going to make sure you put out enough signs, right? Make it easy to find. Of course, follow your HOA guidelines and your city guidelines. Get there early. This says 20 minutes. I've rolled up to an open house and had to make beds and wash dishes. So it happens, right? You want to get there in time. If it's, the weather's starting to get warm, you want to make sure you've got time to maybe change your clothes after you put your signs out so that you're fresh. Want to have all the lights on, right? Including the closets, open the blinds, make everything light and bright, make sure the temperature is comfortable. If flush the toilets, make sure toilet seats are down, and then have a nice smelling candle. Something like a vanilla or something appealing but not off-putting, right? If it's occupied, turn on some music. If it's during the sports season, I think it's appropriate to have it's baseball season, right? It's appropriate to have that on the TV with no sound, especially if men are coming through the open houses. One, it's a way to connect, and two, they'll hang out, right? Because they're going to want to watch the game a little bit. And then, it's just a nice thing to have that action. Now, keep the sound off. Music needs to be appropriate. You don't want to be playing some death metal or something crazy, something that will, the idea here is to set the ambiance so that they want to hang out, right? They want to stay longer, okay? And then have your thank you notes. If you can get addresses, send a thank you note out to everyone that comes in. Like I said before, if you don't get addresses, which I know sometimes it's hard to do in open houses, especially if it's busy, send a video text, right? It was so nice meeting you at the open house. Just want to let you know I'm going to be following up with you, right? Again, your competition is not doing that, you guys. All right, so take a screenshot of this. This is a resource for you, Signed Bro. We'll put out signs for you. If you have kids, they'll probably also do it for less than $50. So that is an option for you guys if you don't want to be putting out your open house signs.
Sarah?
Yes.
So since I'm new in the area, what are the common days and time of day to do open houses here?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the majority of open houses happen on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. But I think, Bob, whenever you want to do one is going to be effective, right? There are some people that will do them, after school. If the house is in a really great school district, they'll do it, during like that pickup time for, people picking up their kids. If you're doing a big, Nate will do the luxury ones. He'll just pick up, a random day in the week and do it in the evening. And then, they'll have food and drinks and things like that come in. So, but I think the majority of open houses happen on Saturday, Sunday, and that midday to afternoon window. So anybody have any comments? Monique, I know you do a lot of open houses. Have you found a more effective time?
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on the area, and for instance, Westbrook, you can do an open house any day of the week in there and get a good turnout. Sunset, if you're doing the retirement communities, I would say early to better, because they like to get out. Of course, if they're having some type of function on a Friday or something like that, maybe we call that garage sale in certain areas, those would be good days to look for things that are happening in the community and try to mirror that same time frame. But yeah, I've had 15, 20 people show up at an open house in Westbrook on a Tuesday.
Oh, on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Whoosh, and that's pretty good.
And to that point, when I used to do open houses in Sun Village, I learned very quickly, and I don't remember now what the day is, but ask the guard at the gate, what day does everybody do the open houses? Because in that community, they actually prefer it to be on a specific day. So all the realtors are doing it on the same day. So the guard knows, okay, we're doing open house day to day. And it's not a normal day. It's like a Thursday or something.
Curious. And where was that at?
That one's Sun Village.
Okay. I just showed a house in Sun Village. How funny. That's a great neighborhood.
But I always ask if there's a physical guard at the gate, I always ask them, hey, is there a better day for you, or that all the realtors are doing open houses? I've always just given them that courtesy, but also just done that. And they can usually tip me off to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, gated communities can be tricky, right? Because I mean, you got to get the gate code, and if there's a guard, that's obviously a little bit easier. But yeah, they can be tricky. So probably not my favorite to do gated communities. But so Bob, I hope that answers your question.
It's a good start. So what about starting time? I mean, especially as we get into the warmer days, more people come out at 10 a.m. or 1 to 4 still common?
Monique, you got some thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, typically I would mix it up, especially if you're gonna be doing multiple open houses. I would do some in the morning, and then also, if that same house is still available, maybe hit it later on in the day too, just to kind of, accommodate everybody's schedule, is what I would say. But I mean, I feel like if someone's coming out in the middle of the summer from 1 to 4 to look at an open house, they're motivated. So
Good. That's a good point.
you know what I mean? So just don't even think about the time, just mix it up. I mean, obviously certain areas you want to be, sensitive to the time, but I do them all times of the day.
Just have a cooler of water then, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think in the summer, maybe that 10 to 2 window would be good too. So yeah, I think Bob, the main thing is just get out and do them, right?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, let's go back to the share screen. So we're not going to role play, but on page 9 or page 8, so here is your visiting the neighbors, right? So this is knocking on doors, okay? It's just the basic, hey, this is who I am. I'm inviting you guys to the open house, right? So yeah, so, whether it's 40 or 50 doors, I don't care. Just don't, and I get it. Door knocking is not something we all like, ooh, let's go do door knocking, right? But what you have to think about is, one, am I going to sell this house, right? Am I going to pick up buyers? Am I going to add to my database, right? And again, 2 to 3 more houses could be listed on that same street or will be listed. And so I want to make sure if I'm door knocking and I hit 4 times, do you think I have an opportunity that I at least might get an interview from one of those people thinking of selling, unless they have a really good relationship with the realtor, right? I think so, right? And so I think it's important that we layer that in, at the very least, canvas and let them know with a flyer if you're not comfortable door knocking. So page 9 through 9 and 10 are scripts. So the first script is welcome, right? A welcome thing. And I think part of this is you just have to have a very warm and inviting attitude, right? To be friendly. And that's the main thing, right? I walked up to someone the other day at the conference I was at and introduced myself. And I feel like I kind of know this person because we have mutual friends on social media and I'm friends with her partner. And she just was like, so rude. And I'm thinking, wow, like, I was just my bubbly, hey, how are you? Good to meet you. I feel like I know you. And she just was like, poof, flat, like nothing. And I'm like, it was very off-putting, right? And so be friendly, be that, outgoing, and not that you have to be a cheerleader, but be the person someone wants to talk to at an open house, right? And then page 10 is providing relevant information. So we want to give them the information, right? And the example cracks me up because they're priced at $150. Wish. So give them the information, right? We don't want to, that's part of the challenge that salespeople have, is we want to provide the information, right? You don't want to be guarded so that the person feels uncomfortable talking to you, okay? Page 10. Oh, so sorry, that was page 10. And then page 11, I love this flow chart. Roberta, you and I were talking about something like this the other day. So here it is. I couldn't remember which class it was in, but we could use this as your base for what we were talking about. So are you currently in the market for a new home? That's the money question, right? Are you currently in the market for a new home? If they say yes, right, this goes through the flow chart, right? And the script I love in here is, how are you going about finding your perfect home? And the typical person's going to say, oh, well, I'm on Trulia, or I'm on Zillow, or we have an agent, right? If they have an agent, then, oh, great, who are you working with? That you're going to know right away if they're BSing you. If you say, great, who are you working with? And they can't provide a name, right? I don't know about you, but, I used to go to Dillard's to shop for something. And when the salesperson would come up and say, can I help you with anything? I would say what? No, thank you. I'm just looking. Today, I don't do that. When someone walks up to me and says, can I help you? Yeah, actually, you can. Because why? Because my time is worth a lot, right? And so spending the time walking around a store, getting frustrated, looking for something, that's what they're there for, right? They've just asked, they've offered to help. So take them up on it, right? So if they say they have a realtor, ask the question. If they say no, right, then we want to continue. 60% of people who go through an open house actually buy a house, right? And I get it. You're going to have a lot of people say they have realtors. but it only takes one, right? It only takes one. And also the focus on the listings, right? We need inventory. So if we're thinking about the buyers, great, but we also need to be thinking about those 2 to 3 other opportunities that are going to come up. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but another page I would probably pull out and print out, right? And have this available so that I study it and I'm familiar with what the next steps should be. Okay. And I'm going to go, if they say they have a realtor, like I said, I'm going to ask, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Some of you might not be comfortable asking the question like, well, did you sign anything? Which is okay, right? You don't have to, but that could be the next question is, well, did you sign something with them? And if they say no, then great. There's still an opportunity to work with them. Okay. Before I move off of this, let me go back one more thing I think is important. I don't know if you guys can see this, but so right here, this question right here, uncover your needs. And so this is something we talk about in the buyer conversion class is what would it entail, right? To meet with you? Well, I want to uncover your needs, verify your financial comfort zone. Way better way to say, what are you pre-qualified for, right? And so I love that. Our words matter, you guys. So verify your financial comfort zone, builds trust. Sounds different, right? And then we can discuss our roles and expectations. Roles and expectations, we get that in the buyer conversion class. What's your role in this transaction? What's my role? What can we expect of each other? And are we okay with that? Maybe it's not a fit, right? But we want to set this up for a win-win. And so when they have a role, you have a role, we've now become partners in this journey of finding you a home, right? And so you guys will come to that class, you'll get those materials. I personally think the roles and expectations is one of the most brilliant things that we have available in Momentum. It's just a game changer and your competition isn't using it, okay? So I love that financial comfort zone. So how are you going about finding your perfect home? Let them answer. How would you like a better way, right? And I'm going to give you another great script in here too is awesome for that. Let's see, where is it at? So here it is. So we want to book the appointment, right? Send them a thank you note because hopefully at this point we've got an address. And then we want to call to confirm. The script that, is it on my screen? Hold on. It's been a minute since I've taught this class. It's not. So in your guys' materials, you will get this on page 12. If their answer implies that they're not being intentional, here's the script. How would you like to use a proactive process that will ensure you get the home you want and more importantly, want the home you get? Let me say that again. How would you like to use a proactive process? Proactive means to produce action that will ensure you get the home you want and more importantly, want the home you get. And so in this market, our buyers making sacrifices. The house I bought, I like it, but it's not my dream home, right? There are things about it that I don't love. And so it will not probably be a home that I stay in very long. And so, but I sacrificed because the market is what it is, right? And so I wanted to get somewhere and I made a decision. So important that we say that, right? That do you want the home you're going to get? Right. And so your competition is not using this script. And again, our words matter. So if there's anything you take from this class, memorize that script, you guys, because to me, it's so professional and so missing in the interactions that buyers have with realtors. Okay. So I love that script. All right. Next page. How am I doing on time? I got 20 minutes. Okay. So again, page 13 is another script. So, the pushback is, can't you just email me the information, right? And so it's a great script about talking to them about your process, right? And creating that win-win relationship. Next script is about page 14, advanced ways to set the appointment, right? And so what we wrote, what the reminder here on this page I'm going to have on the screen is that you guys have a choice. We all have a choice, right? Choices are backed up by our actions, which then create habits, which create our character, our destiny, and ultimately the legacy that we leave behind. And so time is the only thing that's is limited in our life. So choosing the things that we want to focus on that are the right activities. And do we even know what those are, right? And so when we talk about the big rocks, it's always funny to me when realtors don't put prospecting in, right? They don't put prospecting into their big rocks. And, we see this life cycle of realtors that does this, right? They get busy because they're prospecting and then we'll go get a bunch of stuff in escrow. We got to manage that. Everything closes. We come back down here. Oh crap, I don't have any more bleeds. So I do this. And then if they take vacation in July, it might be September or October before they actually get back to work. And then they wonder why their fourth quarter sucks, right? And so everything you do today has an impact on your business 30 to 45 days from now. So you can blow off prospecting today and that's all gravy, right? But in 30 days from now, you will feel it. And so we get lulled into complacency, and I've packed it away, but my great Augmandino book says that do not get lulled into complacency, because the sale you had today is the sale you had today, right? It's not the sale tomorrow or next week. And so when we think about our A leads, they're already done, right? They're in the bag. We need to focus on filling our pipeline for the future, okay? Page 15, working with a realtor. Again, how comfortable are you? This talks about, did you sign something? This actually said, did your agent invest time on the upfront, defining your perfect home, making sure of your financial parameters, and thoroughly discussing the roles and expectations necessary for a successful working relationship? I'm going to go out on a limb and be a little bullish on this and say, probably not, right? Because how many realtors are actually sitting down and doing a consultation with their clients? And if it's my client, they're not going to an open house without me, because why? Because we talked about it in the consultation. And so think about that right there, you guys. You've got to do the consultation to protect that relationship. And one of the things you talk about, don't go to new homes, don't call for sell by owners, don't go to open houses, right? Those are all things that we talk about, right? In fact, I had someone, this buyer that me and another agent are working, and she said, can we go to open houses so we don't have to bother you? Not, absolutely not, right? So it's a conversation, right? And so if you use that script, when someone says, well, yeah, I have a realtor, great. Where are you at in the process, right? So page 15 is a great script on there to help you guys build dialogue around, well, I have an agent, right? Because that's basically this, right? I'm rejecting you. I have an agent. I don't want to hear from you. And so when you can break that down a little bit, there might be an opportunity that they actually didn't have an agent, or you find out that they're not really happy with that agent. Page 16, another script in here. This talks about, I'm not in the market for a new home, right? Great. So why are you here? And so then you slip into, can I put you in my database? And if there's anybody that I can help you with, let me know, right? And this goes back to, if they say no, we got to say next, right? The Augmandino book says that for every no I gets me that much closer to the yes. And so it's okay to get the no's. We were at R4 and Jared James talked about they need to know you to know you. And so N-O-W, sorry, brain fart there, spelling, to know you, to be able to say no, N-O to you, right? And so that's okay to get the no's, because why? Because once we get through that, then the next person might be the yes. And so don't be afraid of that. We can't fear rejection. And I see that so much with salespeople, is we fear rejection, and that's okay. It's not personal, it has nothing to do with you, right? And in fact, maybe even be a little cocky and say, well, you're missing out, right? Because I'm really good at what I do. And so you move on, because why? We live in a world of abundance, and we say next. Page 17, so they're not ready to buy, right? So this is the last script in here, is they're not ready to buy. Okay, so they're not ready to buy. And basically, you slip into the role of we're just looking, we're not ready to buy. Well, how come? Where are you at in the process, right? Maybe they need to be educated. Kyle had gotten, this was a couple years ago, he got a rental lead that came in, and this dialogue went something along the lines, well, why are you renting, right? Have you ever thought about owning a home? And I love this example, because these people have been told that they owned a house in California, and they were told that they couldn't qualify for 2 mortgages. Well, we all know that if you're renting that house, it now cancels out that monthly debt, right? And so they had been given some bad advice, and they were renting for years in Arizona when they could have been a homeowner. And so, I don't know that Kyle, I can't remember if he actually sold them a house or not, but nonetheless, we were able to change the dialogue and educate these people. So if they say they're not ready, well, how come? What's going on in your life? Can I consult you a little bit that now makes you ready? Does that make sense? I hope so. The last script here on page 18. My pages backward. I totally flipped the wrong way. And this is what happens when I'm not in person, you guys. My pages are all messed up. So we're not going to role play, but again, last one here on page 18 is the follow-up, right? So again, I love the idea of the video, but the script is, did I catch you at a good time? I really enjoyed meeting you at the open house. Do you have any further questions about the home? Answer any questions that they do have, right? Did you look at any other homes over the weekend? I would love the opportunity to, chat with you more. Just kind of, again, be of that place of service. And so also I know I'm referencing Og a lot today. He must be, I'm channeling his energy today. He says that who can say no to my goods when they hear the love in my voice? And so really when you think about that, right, before you do an open house, just visualize, I love you, right? I love what I do, and I want to be of service. And really, if you think about what we do, you guys, that's it, right? We are in the service industry. And what do? We service their primal need. And that's why this job is just, I mean, I get goosebumps saying it because it's just the coolest job in the world. Because think about someone's home, their shelter, right? The poor people of Ukraine right now, I can't even imagine, right? To not have shelter. They showed a woman that had given birth to her baby, and she was literally living like on a boxcar on a train, right, with her little baby. And you think about our shelter and not having that. What we do is so important. And so if we can be in that heart space, I think it just makes our job so much easier. And if you emulate that and you radiate that, and that's your energy, you can't fail, right? You cannot fail in this industry if they can hear the love in your voice. And so really think about that when the next open house you do, or the next time you prospect. Last couple things you guys have in here in the materials is some tools for you. And that is the end of my PowerPoint. So we'll just talk about it. So page 20, a sample open house guest registry, pretty basic stuff. If you want the survey that Nate does, let me know, and I'm happy to email that to you. Just send me an email, because I'm really all over the place. As you can see, my office is all packed up. Movers get here at 7:30 tomorrow. So just send me an email and I will send it out to you guys. Page 21 is the open house follow-up, right? This is just a really basic way for you to it's almost like an index card, right? On page 21, just following up with them. I would probably put them in my CRM versus having a piece of paper. That's what I would do. And you guys, your bouge is so easy, just to open up your app and put them right in there, right? Right inside your bouge, and label them open house, right? Create a tag that says open house. That way you know where the source of the lead was, okay? Page 22 are some thank you notes, right? Follow-up notes, samples for you guys. So if you don't know what to say, or here it is, you got 2 of them, okay? And then lastly is the criteria sheet. So if you don't have one of these, you do now. So criteria sheet, and one of the scripts in here talks about actually giving that to them at the open house. And I think that's brilliant, right? Because a lot of times, I got a crazy hair going on. A lot of times people don't know, like if there's 2 people in a household, Mitch and I have different thoughts, right? We agree on the kitchen, we agree on the garage, but when it comes to storage and other things like that, right? We're not on the same page, because things are different for me versus what's important to him, okay? And so when you have more than one person involved, giving them a criteria sheet helps them to get clarity, right? And especially if you've got someone who's downsizing, that's a really hard move for people, right? To go from their big, beautiful 3,000, 4,000 square foot house that they built, raised their family in, to now a 900 square foot retirement home. So that's a big leap, right? And it's very emotional. So when you can give them a tool like a criteria sheet that helps them get focused and get clarity on what they're looking for. Again, is your competition doing that? I would go tour some open houses, you guys. Go see what your competition's doing. Pop in. Hey, I'm previewing. See what they're doing, because I promise you they're not doing this, right? And so you can customize this. I think I think Jody's on vacation this week, but she had done this for me through Tap and created a custom one, so you can add your stuff to it. And we added a few things to it. So you can feel free to kind of modify that a little bit, or you could just take this one and change it up for yourself, right? But Jody had set that for us, so it was a little bit more graphically pleasing. Okay, so a couple of things just to recap. VoicePad, your Remax app, right? Rose's script. I love Rose's script. Rose, I'm stealing your idea and sharing it with everybody else. If you ever watch this, thank you. But how would you like a realtor in your pocket? Something unique, right? Catches them off guard. What do you mean a realtor in my pocket, right? Because I think a lot of consumers are frustrated by the fact that they look at these houses online and, oh, sorry, it's under contract. Oh, sorry, that one's pending. Oh, sorry, not available, right? And so if you're using the Remax tool, it will show if they're under contract taking backups, it will still show as active, I have noticed. But it is a real-time piece of technology that is privy to us as Remax agents. So use the tool, okay? I think the Facebook stuff, super critical to put your posts out there. Monique does a great job. Steve Cushing, his page is public, so go check out his open house videos. He cracks me up because he's just this big teddy bear guy, right, that does these videos, and he's not hung up on them being professional. He's not hung up on having to have some special camera or anything. It's literally him and his iPhone, and he goes to the open house and does a quick little tour. I love them. Go check them out. If Steve can do it, then all the rest of us can do it too. Okay. Video's not going anywhere, so we just have to embrace it and get comfortable with it. And I promise you, they don't care about the 20 pounds you think you need to lose. They're showing up to get information from you because you're relevant, right? You have something that they need. And I don't know if, well, let's see, Roberta was the only, no, Bob was there too. Well, and Monique or Monica. At R4, they rolled out the statistic that says that, before, what was the number one reason people wanted to work with a realtor or needed to work with a realtor? Access to properties, right? Access to properties. How sad is that? That's what the consumer wanted, was access to properties. That has changed. Most recent surveys say that the number one reason to work with a realtor is what? Because they trust us. And who is the most trusted brand in the universe right now? RE/MAX. And so you guys lean into that, lean into the brand, lean into the power of that, because it does make a difference in your business. So I probably am preaching to the choir here a little bit because you guys are awesome, but any questions, comments? Who's going to go do an open house this weekend? Monique is, right? Oh, you're still on mute. If you can find one.
If I can find one, I'll make my little shameless plug. If anybody wants to help me do an open house, well, not help me, but allow me to do an open house at your listing, let me know.
Are you searching the MLS?
Yes.
Okay. So I would set yourself up. One thing I would do is maybe just set yourself up on a search that anytime a new listing comes up that's listed by us, that you get an email.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can go in and just set that criteria, create a new search, and just click listing, listing company. Make sure you're picking all of them, right? Because we have the 3 or 4 different codes. That way you're getting all the listings that are coming in. And I would just set yourself up.
Yeah, I just go into my office listings.
There you go. Yeah. Set yourself up on a search. So that way, every time a new listing comes in, you get dinged.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Nope. Okay. All right, very good. Well, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. And what do we have? So tomorrow, what's today? Tuesday. Tomorrow, you guys do not miss out on the iBuyer class. Shannon is spearheading a mastermind around how do you overcome the objection of someone wanting to list their house with an iBuyer. And I'm quite sure that company that we all know about with their $2.2 million a month in advertising is going to come up as a topic. And so definitely chime in on that. I know I was talking to an agent last week that lost a listing to them. And so, I think it's important that you do your research around that particular company and you have some facts around that. I'm sure it will come up as a topic tomorrow, but definitely tune into that. If you guys, if you've come up against that objection, how have you overcome it? And then, I think there was one agent that's doing that class with her, and it has a lot of really good stuff. So don't miss out on that. And then Thursday is part 2 to the First IO app. So again, another great tool that is exclusive to you guys as a RE/MAX agent. So, and we've got somebody from LLC sharing with us on that day. So another great class. All right. With that being said, you guys have a great day. Go kick some butt. I am a resource for you always. So reach out if you need anything or anything I can help with. And you guys have a great day. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. All right. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Okay. All right. Bye.